The argument about AI isn't really about AI, and it's more about people, and it's more about society. It's about what humans value, it's about what humans fear, it's about what humans do to each other. It's just what human nature is. First of all, I want to address the stigma around AI. Is it going to take our jobs? Is it going to ruin art? Is it going to make people dumber? A lot of people see AI as this waste of space, waste of energy, waste of water, waste of money, waste of time. But I feel like that also correlates to how people see it being used. On social media, you see people using it for kind of useless stuff. It's just entertainment. You just see all the AI slop, just the videos, or just like the kind of interesting stuff, but not really that useful. And that's why I think people hate AI, because it seems stupid. I mean, a lot of the stuff that people are making is kind of cool, but it doesn't really help the world. It doesn't really help society. The low quality AI use is a lot louder and it's a lot more public. But there's this visibility bias between how people are using it online versus how people are actually using it in their daily life. A lot of AI use, at least high quality AI use, is kind of invisible. It's not very loud. I know a lot of people, they're integrating it into their businesses. They're integrating it into their daily lifestyle. That's what I do. I use it for my personal knowledge management, PKM, and it just helps organize my entire life. And this isn't something that's like fancy or like super entertaining. So it's not really being shared a lot. And I feel like a lot of people aren't using AI to its full capability. Most people just use ChatGPT, and maybe they just use it like Google. You know, you just ask a few questions or you have a few things you want to talk about, and it does it. And it works relatively well, but it's not that incredible. Andre Karpathy is a co-founder of OpenAI, and I feel like this tweet that he made sums it up very well. He's saying that most people just use ChatGPT, and they see that it makes hallucinations, it messes things up. On Instagram, you can see how it just kind of acts super dumb. Like I saw a video where it can't time you to go on a run, and it seems so basic, but it can't even do that. So it makes you think that, you know, ChatGPT is dumb or it's just completely useless. We have to understand that there's this major separation between using ChatGPT's voice mode versus using Claude Code or Codex, which are very powerful coding models. I want to talk about AI and art. AI slop is not a good thing, but I do think it's revealing something important. It's obvious that a lot of people don't appreciate art made by AI. I mean, people don't even consider it art. But in a weird way, I feel like that's AI doing a good thing. It's reinforcing and it's revitalizing the importance of human art, of art that's made by people, and it's making people question, well, what is art? For something to be considered art, does it have to be made by a human? Does it have to take a lot of effort? Does it have to be handmade? If AI can create art so easily that can actually look good, then how does that change the way society values art or views it? I mean, to some people, a banana duct taped to a wall is considered art. To me, I don't consider that art. I don't see how there's any really effort behind it or how there's any sort of meaning behind it. But some people would say that there is meaning, there is effort, and I can't say they're wrong, but it's completely subjective. And you know what? I don't really think people are afraid because of the art itself, but it's because we're losing things to grasp onto. Some people, art is their identity, being an artist, creating things, something that comes from your mind. But AI kind of takes that all away. It makes your hard work seem so small. And it kind of makes you feel insecure when AI can recreate your art or even make it better than you made it. What I think is AI is forcing art to justify itself. And AI art, my prediction is that it will integrate. It will become something that is separate from human art, but it will still be considered art. And it's just like digital art or graphic design. People used to think that digital art wasn't real art or that photography wasn't art. And maybe people still think that to this day. But it's just a matter of society adjusting. When new technology arrives, there's always this debate, there's always this separation. And I just think it's a matter of time before we see what truly ends up happening. Now let's move on to AI and jobs. A lot of people are scared they're going to lose their jobs. A lot of people are afraid they're not going to be able to get a job. Should you even go to college? I mean, there's all these questions, but here's my viewpoint on it. Number one, yes, there will be loss of jobs. There's going to be a lot of people that will be replaced and jobs will be lost, but this happens all the time with any new technology. Of course, the growth of AI is a lot more aggressive, and this context is completely different than with other new technology. And I think some nuance that doesn't really get addressed much is that jobs will be transformed. Sure, jobs will be replaced by AI, sure, there'll be new jobs, but I think for the most part, what will happen is that jobs will change. An example of job transformation that I heard from Jensen Huang, who is the CEO of NVIDIA, is basically talked about radiology. It was predicted by Geoffrey Hinton, who's considered the godfather of AI, that radiology would go extinct. There would be no more need for radiologists. He said this because he thought AI imaging technology would just make radiologists obsolete. But now we know he was wrong. What actually happened was that the AI imaging technology made it so there was a greater need for radiologists. The new technology allowed for scans to happen a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently, which meant that hospitals were able to take on more patients, which also meant that they needed more radiologists to actually read through these scans. The technology didn't replace radiologists. It actually created more demand for them. Now, I'm not saying this will happen with every job, but but it's just an example to say that AI is going to transform jobs. It's not going to replace everyone, it's just going to change the way a job is done. Historically, every major technological shift disrupted the job market. That is just what happens. It's nothing new. And usually in the long run, it does end up being a good thing for society. Losing your job is horrible, but it's a reality that we have to face in the new age of AI. And what you can do is prepare. What you can do is become more AI literate. Integrate it into your life, maybe even into your own job. Figure out how AI can help you. I feel like that's the main way. Once all this AI hype has kind of settled down, that is how we're going to see who has the freedom. The technology is not going anywhere. It's not going to disappear. And the worst thing that can happen to you is if you're blindsided by it. And I feel like the blame shouldn't all be on AI. People who have power, CEOs, managers, they use AI to justify decisions that they already want to make. Businesses, they want profit. So if they can replace someone with AI, they're going to do it. AI is not making these decisions. People are making these decisions. Now I want to talk more about why I think people resist AI on a more psychological and identity-based level. I think a lot of people resist AI because they see it as sort of an identity threat. AI is challenging what makes people valuable. If AI replaces your job, then are you valuable anymore because you don't have a job or because your skills don't matter to someone? Or what about art? Because AI can now make art better than you, now you aren't worth something? I'm not saying that's the case, but I think other people are sort of feeling that way. People don't know how to define themselves anymore because AI is replacing so many things that people do. Humans are emotional beings. We don't always think rationally. People aren't seeing AI for what it can do or for how it can help them, but they see it as a threat. Before, there wasn't really much to compare against because humans were at the top. We were the smartest. We were the best. But now, in some way, AI is smarter than people. AI can do more than people. So we are forced to question our own existence. Look, don't let AI make you feel insecure. It's just a tool. It's a robot. AI only has meaning because humans give it meaning. Just like your bed, just like your microwave, just like your oven. It's only useful because it provides value to you as a human. AI is meant to empower people. It's meant to give humans better lives. AI will never actually replace humans because humans are the only thing that gives its existence any true meaning. The argument about AI isn't really about AI, and it's more about people, and it's more about society. It's about what humans value, it's about what humans fear, it's about what humans do to each other. It's just what human nature is. Now I want to talk about the spectrum of AI, where everyone seems to be at. To me, it seems there's this massive spectrum about AI. Some people are completely clueless about AI, some people think it's going to destroy the world, some people think it's going to save the world. And personally, I think the truth is found somewhere in the middle. And I think the main reason why everyone is arguing is because no one really has concrete answers. Everyone's making predictions, everyone's making speculations, everyone's just trying to prepare for what they don't really know for sure what's going to happen. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, he said that we would reach AGI by 2025. And many argue that we haven't reached that point. But the point I'm trying to make is that all these CEOs, all these tech entrepreneurs, even just regular people or people on the news, they're overpromising. They're making these very big predictions, these bold predictions. And in many cases, they're right. And in many cases, they're wrong. So it's like you don't want to take everything at face value. You just have to realize the nuance with all of these situations. And in many ways, AI has become this sort of buzzword. AI is so many different things. There's so many different types of AI. But when you say AI, it kind of just generalizes it. And when people talk about it like it's useless or like it's the best thing ever, you have to be more specific. What particularly about AI or which AI? And that's why I think there's so much confusion about AI because it's this big ecosystem full of so many different things that we've confined it to this one term. The conversation needs to be moved from not what AI is doing, but what are people doing? The only way AI is going to move forward is if people are trying to move AI forward or what people are using AI for. People are not detached from AI, and it doesn't really do anything on its own without a person prompting it or without someone needing something to be done with it. AI doesn't necessarily create the problem. In some way, it's a mirror of society. It's a mirror of how people prompt it, of how people use it. We need to start evaluating how people are using that tool, not just the tool by itself. A hammer by itself is just a chunk of metal with a handle. But as soon as a person starts using it, that's when it actually becomes a hammer. AI is this huge ecosystem. I mean, there's agents, there's Claude Code, there's Codex, there's all these open source models, there's Mythos. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but there's so many different things in this AI universe. And people are using it in so many different ways. I think this is a great example of how someone used ChatGPT. Like I saw this video, this guy just used ChatGPT to sell his house. He had ChatGPT help him with redesigning the house. He had ChatGPT help him with the listing, what day to even post the listing. I mean, people are using it in very creative ways. And what you have to realize is the only limit with AI is the user. So there's this worry that AI is going to make people dumber. But you could say the same thing about phones, about Google, about calculators. But if you zoom out, isn't saving time and making things easier the point of most inventions? The calculator made it so people didn't really need to know a lot of mental math. Google made it so you didn't really need to memorize any facts, you could just search stuff up. No one uses dictionaries anymore, you just search up a definition. No one really considers the calculator or Google a bad thing. It's a tool that makes our lives easier. It's just the way technology works. As technology is integrated in society, the old ways of doing things become obsolete. Now, depending on the context, this can be a good thing or a bad thing, but this isn't a new concept. The real question is not, is AI making people skip essential steps, but it's what steps are actually worth keeping. And when lower level tasks are replaced with new technology, it gives more room for higher level thinking. AI helps remove the cost of execution. And overall, with new technology, what usually happens is that people don't always get dumber, but overall capability goes up, overall intelligence increases. But really, it's not that AI is going to make people dumber, it's the passive use of the tool that makes people dumber. Take the iPhone, for example. Obviously, they're scrolling. Obviously, people spend too much time on their phones, and that does make people dumber. But it's not the phone that's making people dumber, it's just people using it irresponsibly. We are still in the beginnings of AI. And with that, there's going to be a lot of garbage. There's going to be a lot of useless companies. There's going to be a lot of startups that ultimately will fail. Take the dot-com bubble as an example. There were tons of companies that were being invested into, but ultimately, in this day and age, they don't exist anymore because they weren't that good. They were useless. But companies that survived the dot-com bubble, like Google, like Amazon, like eBay, these companies have real utility. Long-lasting use. All of these companies will go through a filter. It's just something that will naturally happen. The good companies will stay and the bad companies will get filtered out. It takes time, but all the garbage you see now, it's not going to stay here forever. Take Sora as an example, OpenAI's video generation model. It's being shut down. OpenAI is shutting it down because ultimately it wasn't profitable. It wasn't worth all the time and money that we're putting into it. And it ultimately wasn't useful. It cost way too much money for them and it just wasn't sustainable. And that's just exactly my point. The stuff that isn't genuinely useful to society, to people, to anyone, it won't stay. My advice to you is this: figure out the answer for yourself. Start using AI and see how it can help your life and what you think of it. Don't fully listen to any of the extremes and figure out what is AI to you. Ultimately, what I think is the people who are using AI, who are researching AI, and who will be competent in AI are the ones who will get ahead. It's not about ego or identity threat or art or jobs. It's just about being open. It's about realizing that this technology is here and it's just continuously growing. It may replace you, it may not, but I'll tell you what, the more articulate you are in the use of AI will ultimately help you in the long run. Anyways, let me know your thoughts about this video. What do you think about AI? What are your fears? How do you use it, if at all? There's always nuance to all of these topics, and I just want to make sure that I can at least provide my perspective on this. Also, if you want to talk about this with me personally, message me on Discord. It's the first link in the description, and we can get talking. Anyways, thanks for watching.